Bart, what's causing your ooga booga talk? My special little guy's noogle has turned to goo-goo. The whole town's gone nuts. Security cameras, mysterious vans, crop circles. There's got to be a connection. Maybe the police know something.
Hey folks, welcome back to Simpsons Hit and Run. I have JT here with me once again, and we're doing the Marge level. This is the level where Marge begins to suspect some strange goings-on in Springfield and decides to take matters into her own hands. And it's pretty fun for the most part. I like this. The difficulty ratchets up a little bit in this level, but it's still pretty easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I wanna get right to it, the meat and potatoes, with this one. You had a crazy, insane story that was going to blow my mind.
Well, I never said it would blow your mind.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, we were shitting on the Pixar theory man before this. The man who came up with the Pixar theory. Anyway, which I will just say about the Pixar theory, we don't have to riff on that guy, but I do think it's lame that he is not committed to the bit and that he stopped updating it in 2013. There's so many more.
He should only be posting about Pixar theory. Like
right, that's your thing.
A crazy, conspiracy theorist looking for clues. I mean, his Twitter, not to go too much deep into it, because you do have a crazy, insane story.
Well, I don't want to build it up too much now. It's not even my story either. I never said it would blow your mind. You're doing fake news.
But his header photo is... these are... You've seen more Pixar movies than I have. They're like Pixar kids. Are they from...
That's Turning Red, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Well, he probably should be posting about Pixar theory, because that's clearly his only claim to fame, because he has 14,000 followers on Twitter, and all of his new tweets are making single-digit likes.
Let's see here.
He's getting the number of likes that I get on Twitter with 500 times the followers. And he's tweeting about, you would think, his whole thing is a theory about baby movies, so you would think he's mostly tweeting about, other movies for children. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, let's get the story out of the way. So I told JT before this, we were thinking of topics to talk about in this video. And, because, why would we talk about the video game? But, oh, that was fun. I just glitched through the floor. That's a classic Simpsons Hit and Run moment. Anyway, so I told him that I have had in my notes of things to say in commentary for these videos, for whenever I don't have anything to say, I have a note about a story that a former coworker told me. This has to be 3 or 4 years ago now, that I think is just whack. Fair warning, there is an element of it that is fairly disturbing, but I hope that it is still entertaining to hear. Okay, so I hope I have not built this up too much. So I guess I won't say this guy's name, or what the job was. I don't care. It was a canvassing job. I was doing canvassing in Pennsylvania. And this lovely man from Massachusetts had come down and joined our canvassing group for the summer. And he was a real cool guy. And he told me about not the first time that he smoked weed, but a very early time in his weed smoking. I guess this was in early college for him. Mm-hmm. Where he and his friends had gotten high, and they were going to walk to McDonald's. So they were walking to McDonald's, and there were two people. I don't remember what was happening with the two people, But long story short, there were 2 people who got hit by a car. And
What?
And one of them died. And I don't remember if he said this man was decapitated or if he just saw his head get crushed. It was one of those 2.
Wait, one of the not his friends, right?
No, it was just one of the 2 people that got hit.
Oh my god.
So
That
he
would
saw...
I would never smoke weed ever
That's
again
what I
after
said.
that.
That's what I said. And, like, he was... okay, so I haven't even gotten to the... I guess that is the craziest part, but... So, the part... it just, like... So, the other person, this coworker man, saved the other person, like, dragged them out of the street and called 911. And then apparently several years later, like fairly recently, relative to when he was telling me this story, that person had like reached back out to him and thanked him years later. Like, what a story. And this dude, he was one of those dudes, and I think it's partially because he was in like politics / canvassing and had been in a lot of places around the country, and also just a very personable, sociable guy. But he's one of those guys that is just chock full of stories like this. Not necessarily of witnessing people dying.
Decapitations.
But just of just weird things falling into his lap, and like, either he gets to be some sort of hero or whatever. Just a story that really wows everyone. But when he was telling me this, I was like... I felt like he wasn't emphasizing the fact that he was high and saw someone died. Like, that would be the sticking point for me, is that, like... And his fucking head fell off! Like, he really wasn't pushing that point a whole lot when he was telling me the story. And I remember I kept being like, wait, but his head came off? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, what? Like, that would be the only thing I tell anyone for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's like that experience in general feels like what like the TV version of smoking weed is like, where it's like a hallucinogenic, like psychedelic experience. Like
right.
There's an episode to very gracefully transition.
Hell yeah.
There is an episode of the Simpsons that where Homer smokes weed. He's like recommended like medical marijuana. I think.
Yes.
I want to say it's like either in the 13th or 14th season.
I don't know if I've seen it, but I have definitely seen like clips of it.
They're like vaporwave like Simpsons clips where like it's just Homer chilling and jive walking like about like because he's chill and smokes
like
weed.
That's what I do. That's how I walk around.
And that is a very like psychedelic hallucinogenic version of it. And with that episode of The Simpsons, like being a very sheltered boy, and I feel like my parents not grew up but were around for like when I was I don't know, probably like 10 or like maybe a little bit younger, when I wanted to start watching The Simpsons. It was like my folks had lived through like 90s like Simpsons panic, which is very funny to see. Like there's some like I think on the early season like
when they were
DVD,
banning Bart Simpson shirts in schools.
Exactly. You see like on like the DVD extras, because it's like wait a minute, there's a cartoon for adults and this boy swears and like they're promoting foul behavior in children. This is ridiculous.
And also like everyone in the show is like a dumb asshole.
Yeah, exactly. And like, which is so funny now, just like because how like tame of a show.
Imagine if Big Mouth had come out in 1989.
everyone associated with the show would be arrested for pedophilia.
I
still think that should be the case.
Well,
but...
yes, exactly. But and I mean, at least one person involved with Simpsons should probably be arrested for pedophilia as well.
True.
No, I was gonna say if that happened, then we would have banned cartoons in America.
But with the Simpsons panic, okay, so my folks had that was probably the time they had last heard of it, or it was relevant in their mind, and they're pretty socially conservative about what their young little boy should watch. And so I started getting into the Simpsons, watching DVDs that I had rented from the library. From there, they were okay, you're watching
the library is so responsible for introducing so many children to smut and subversive thinking.
And so from there, they were we need to check this out, we gotta see. And they're reruns, I mean, still I would imagine on Fox to this day, 5 p.m. They're a solid hour block of 2 Simpsons episodes. And every time that I was going to show my parents Simpsons episodes twice, where they're we gotta content check this, it was the worst, probably the crudest episodes of The Simpsons. And the first time it happened, and I forget how as a child I gracefully evaded them actually watching it, but I knew because I'd seen this episode. It was the episode where Homer smoked weed, and it was of all the ones, this is so bad. This is the worst. No, they don't. Homer's not smoking pot in every episode.
They don't usually do this.
They don't usually do this. And then there was a second instance I remember where they were what are these Simpsons characters all about? And it was the episode where Homer and Marge try to rejuvenate their love life and their marriage and start fucking
they
again. They
have sex in the golf course windmill.
Exactly, and it's just those are the two probably dirty. I mean, the weed one isn't even dirty, but those are the two
it's just weed, yeah.
Most objectionable Simpsons episodes, and had a bitch of a time with those.
They probably would love Homer Badman.
Homer Badman. Oh, that's probably my favorite episode.
It's one of my favorites. It's risque. I feel I don't know your parents, but from what I do know about them, I feel they would like it because it's anti-cancel culture. Not that I think they know what that is necessarily, but you know what I mean.
No, I agree. I mean, I like that episode because it is anti-cancel culture. I mean, not to again describing it as
I was doing that to be cheeky. I don't want to start a whole fucking thing about that.
No, describing it as I mean, I think it is interesting how that, because I do I mean, it's one of my favorite episodes of the show, and I do like talking about it because I think that the 90s Simpsons at its best is a perfect sort of satire of just middle class white American life.
Yeah.
And the way they engage with media and popular stories and the news is so well represented in Homer Badman. And it's funny because it's just it was the case in the 90s of how stories are told in the news, and instantly there's an angle given or lens painted of this is the way it is, and it's just even more true today. I mean, again, I don't think that getting into the nuances of cancel culture bullshit, I think are a little tedious and boring, because I doubt, I don't know, cancel culture isn't real. None of the real people that are quote unquote canceled ever really face any legitimate harm from what they've done. I mean, the
Right.
only two offenders that I can really think of that had any real repercussions are like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. But like every
Yeah,
other,
but those are in cases where there's like very solid evidence
Yeah,
of
there's-
rape. Of,
there's
like,
incredible evidence of like them being like mastermind evil rapists, like the
Yes.
most like nefarious people.
yeah,
but,
like unrepentant serial abusers.
But like even other suspected like unrepentant serial abusers, like they continue to go on working. Like I'm always
Sure.
surprised that like
Louis
TJ
C.K. is back on the scene. Not
Yeah.
as big as before, but he's doing stuff.
Yeah, and I'm always surprised that like TJ Miller like as well was able to like bounce back from like calling in the bomb threat and then also like allegedly like abusing a woman in college as well. Just like a
Yeah.
weird plethora. I mean, having like noxious behavior on set, just like a plethora of weird behavior, and he was still in like, I don't know, fucking Deadpool 2 or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and like well, to cite a very recent ongoing example and, to open and then immediately close another can of worms is the Johnny Depp shit. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he abused that woman, and in a certain sense, with everything that's going on with this trial right now, is continuing to abuse her. And I mean, it's really overwhelming, like the disparity in the number of like justice for Johnny like angles to the trial. And I mean, like with that thing, like I will admit I don't follow every single detail of that trial. I don't really give a shit. My real opinion is that both of them are millionaires and probably assholes, and neither of them are celebrities I'm invested in or particularly like anyway. So, but I mean, it's very strange to me how people are talking about the trial and the way people like justify Johnny Depp's part in it.
I think that like, and I mean, again, I don't want to necessarily dive into that can of worms either with the whole Depp Heard trial. I mean, I think I like certainly agree with you where I think the behavior that people are displaying on like behalf of both parties is like I don't know, pretty disturbing and just weird to like identify with that like at all.
to be having like stan moments about a domestic abuse,
Yeah,
I mean, I
like,
guess it's a defamation trial, but talking about domestic abuse.
like talking about like the high levels of domestic abuse, but to gear it back to like the Homer Badman relating to like
Let's get it back to the
abuse.
Simpsons. Let's reel it back in here.
Abuse and cancel culture stuff. I feel like what Homer Badman really gets right about that, and I feel like really capitalizes on like stuff that's like relevant with the Me Too movement, is just that like when there are a lot of people that just love being cops and love like just policing other people's behavior.
Scolds.
Or exactly, or scolding people or being like, this is wrong.
COVID was a golden era for them.
Exactly. And it's just like it's like this person did something bad, we need to strip them of everything and shame them and take everything away. And like certainly like I mean,
and especially now with the internet, like that's a whole that is really where I feel the term cancel culture comes from, is a very real phenomenon where strangers on the internet will, like, dox or otherwise harass other complete, like, nobody strangers on the internet for usually, like, either, genuinely bad, like, things they said or did, or just, like, innocuous or shit, or, like, having the wrong opinion about a certain thing. And that's a real thing. And when it comes to, like, people with actual wealth or power who complain about getting canceled, 99% of the time it's bullshit. But that cancel culture is very much real.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. It's like, I think where you get into problems with it is that it's just like that type of like vigilante justice, like mob mentality that The Simpsons is like constantly like satirizing the way.
A lot of the best episodes are about the episodes where the town like goes insane.
Yeah, they quickly like have made up their mind on something and then just go hog wild all in on like this is the case. And in Homer Badman, it's that like Homer has committed sexual assault and like he's like a serial rapist, more or less. And I think that like that's the problem with like the way like on like the way cancel culture functions or way things like that, and why I feel like it's able, why so many right-wing people or like even right-leaning people are able to be like afraid of like, oh man, like left or like the liberals are gonna like come after you and cancel you for your like your conservative beliefs and ruin your lives, because it like what you're saying, it like does happen to like normal people who are like, maybe there's a video of them being like an asshole to like someone at like a Chick-fil-A, and it's just like, yes, that's like wrong, like certainly I think that those people are pricks, but like the way it is treated is just that like all crimes are equal, kind of in the mind of like some of the most in the minds of some of the most nefarious like online scolds. It's that like all crimes like merit the same punishment, whether it's like serial rape or like whatever. It's just like like the moment an allegation comes out, a person is guilty, and that they need to be like self-flagellate in like public immediately, or like it's licensed for like mob mentality to tear them down.
Grandpa, do you know anything about crop circles?
What? Huh? I can't tell you about crop circles right now. Those lousy renegades stole my pills. Without my ag relief, I'll start...
Yeah, no, I agree. But to get off of that topic, I guess to just get people who are watching up to speed on the game. Earlier, I was just doing my requisite running around. I didn't find very much because this is an area, like, the level here, the map is one we've already been in, and when it comes to, like, the locations of the WASP cameras and the trading cards, a lot of them are in the same place when the map repeats, so I showed some of it, but I did a pretty good exploration of this place, mostly just collected a bunch of coins and smashed shit. That's all like extra stuff. Didn't really do anything too interesting, so didn't show all of it. It's mostly stuff you've already seen. And now, this mission is we are trying to find Grandpa's medicine so that he can be cogent and tell us something about the Buzz Cola that Marge now believes is the reason Bart is... Or no, she's trying to find some way to get Bart out of the trance, and spoilers, it's gonna be the Buzz Cola, and yeah.
I wanted to cap off like a Homer Badman relevancy kind of a thing. I feel like, and what like to expand it out to something like more broadly about the Simpsons, and I guess like Simpsons and like politics or whatever. Not to like go too much on like an annoying like online leftist kind of a thing, because it's like
I haven't done that in a while in any of my videos, so that's good.
It doesn't merit it too much, but I mean, I think that like why Homer Badman is really skilled in particular is because it has the like, oh, mob justice angle like never works. Like you need to have like a process of like innocent until proven guilty. Like no matter how like much something may seem, like you have to like let something like sort of see the light of day, and the court of public opinion usually, I mean, not, I don't want to say usually is wrong, but like it's quick to act and is like influenced like by like the media a lot of the time. And I feel like because the Simpsons kind of like tried to take like a weird sort of like centrist angle, I mean obviously while leaning like kind of like lib for sure, I feel like the fact that it comes off as like sort of like apolitical a lot of the time, I feel like makes it more just like representational of like American culture, more or less. Like I think by like trying to avoid it, like obviously it's inescapable, you can't, like whether like by trying to avoid making like concrete political statements, you are in fact making them, even though there are like lib like episodes where like Lisa will speak out about whatever, or like she becomes a vegetarian or things like that. They are, a lot of the times the episodes themselves are not like really trying to make like a cogent point about something like that, and I think it just like just speaks of the attitudes of the time, or like American attitudes about things in general.
Well, yeah, especially 90s, and I don't charge Simpsons with being like a big example of this, honestly, because another great thing about 90s Simpsons is that it is frequently very, what people would now call corny, but very emotionally sincere a lot of the time. But that kind of like ambivalence. I won't say nihilism, but like, you know, especially when it comes to stuff like politics and like the public sphere, of just a kind of like throwing your hands up and just like, and I think Simpsons is an appropriate place to do, and like cartoons are an appropriate place to do this with your satire, where you can kind of just highlight the absurdity. I feel like animation is you can get away with not having much of a concrete political stance when you're dealing with something more political.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like the show in itself, by its like virtue, is like so character driven that I feel like allows it to sort of have Trucker's Choice pills, very nice.
Oh yeah, we got a nice pre-rendered cutscene here.
But yeah, by the fact that it foregrounds the character stuff, they can just sort of throw up their hands at like larger issues, and I don't know, makes it very easy and palatable. And I mean, also like appeals to anyone. Like you can kind of read in, like, I don't know, there are plenty of right-wing Simpsons fans, I'm sure, and you can read into whatever bullshit you want.
Well, and I mean, the best Simpsons writer, John Swartzwelder, is a conservative man.
Oh yeah, crazy libertarian.
Yeah. No, he believes all kinds of stupid shit, but he not only makes a lot of the funniest episodes, but a lot of the most, prescient, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, this video is about to be over, but maybe you'll come back for a third one in a row if you want. We seem to just be trucking along, and yeah.
I always love tangentially talking about The Simpsons.
Yeah. Alright. See you guys next time for more Marge.